A third attempt will be made later to elect a new Speaker at Stormont in a bid to allow the Northern Ireland Assembly to function fully again. Assembly members are due to meet at noon, but it could fail because the DUP is refusing to nominate a Speaker over part of the 2019 Brexit deal known as the Protocol. Well, there are also serious concerns about the impact the political crisis is having on health and judicial sectors in Northern Ireland. Let's speak now to Jess Sargeant, who's a senior researcher working on devolution for the Institute for Government. Jess Sargeant, really good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. I suppose it was hoped that after the easing of COVID restrictions, things would get better in the NHS. But how much has the political uncertainty, how much of an impact is that having on frontline services like the NHS?
So Northern Ireland has some of the worst NH backlogs in the UK, and that in part is a result of the period of lack of government between 2017 and 2020. Now, there was hope that post-COVID ministers would be able to start to deal with this, and there are arrangements currently in place to allow caretaker ministers to continue. So there is still a health minister who's trying to address some of the immediate concerns in the health service, but without a fully functioning executive, because there's no First Minister and no Deputy First Minister and no Assembly, it's really difficult to make progress on those kind of longer term public services reforms that are needed to tackle these issues. The other issue also is there's currently no budget in Northern Ireland, so money can't be reallocated within the budget to send money to the NHS to address some of these issues like it has been in England. And so really ministers are trying to do their best, but really with one arm tied behind their back.
And what other public services are being affected?
So as you mentioned, there are some concerns about backlogs in the judicial system that had been created because of COVID. One of the other concerns is also measures to address the cost of living. Now, because England has increased spending to try and address cost of living, then Northern Ireland is then entitled to certain money because of that. But because there are no ministers, you can decide, a group of ministers, there's no Deputy First Minister and First Minister, to decide how that money is spent. Then some of the measures that have been introduced elsewhere in the UK can't be introduced in Northern Ireland. So there are concerns about what implications that might have on people's finances.
What's the way out of all of this? I mean, is there any way that this impasse can be broken and a fully functioning executive can resume?
The only way that can happen is by agreement between the parties to go back into government. Currently, the DUP is refusing to nominate a Speaker, which means that they then can't nominate a First Minister and Deputy First Minister, a new set of ministers, out of protest over the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, the UK government says to address this, it's introducing the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill, which will aim to unilaterally override parts of the UK-EU agreement that the UK government doesn't like. But the DUP have said that they won't go back into government until that has fully passed, and we're not expecting that to happen until before the end of the year. There's also a lot of objections from the other political parties to the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill and the UK government's action in this area. So fundamentally, the parties need to work together and get back into government for the interests of the people in Northern Ireland.
Jess Sargeant from the Institute for Government, really good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.